Da-da-da-dum, 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 da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum. It's filtering out the flute again, Ted. No flute's coming through. There's no flute.
Oh man, it's because I had noise suppression turned on. All right, hold up. Here we go.
Ah. Oh, you're getting really good. That's a good little
I know
tune.
it's kind of funny how I'm like getting really good at the flute when I bought it as a joke.
Yeah.
Hello
Uh,
everyone,
that was a
welcome.
classic Dungeon Master level 1 start right there. It's noise suppression on, the gag not coming through.
Yeah, I mean, we found our niche, and
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
building it. You know what else was a fun part about that was we did not have Do Not Disturb turned on, so we got a nice big old ding right in the middle of that. I think that was
Oh,
on me.
I don't think that came through. I didn't get that.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. So that's good. All right. Well, anyways, welcome to Dungeon Master Level 1, the
Welcome back.
podcast about new Dungeon Master and his new Dungeon Master players. Uh,
Mm.
so we had a great session, in my opinion, hopefully for the players as well, on Tuesday. Ted, do you want to walk us? Oh, and my name is Merritt Smith, the Dungeon Master. With me, as always, is my amigo especial, Ted.
It's a different interaction each week, which I adore. That's how you keep people coming back, folks. You make them wonder how is he going to introduce me this
How's he
week?
gonna
Last week,
introduce
a
Ted
couple
this
of
week?
geese. Last week, a couple of geese. This week, amigo especial. Is that what you
Mhm.
said? I
Yep,
immediately forgot.
that's what instantly
That's just
forgot.
kind of a fun thing that I do. In my older age, I just forget stuff, and it's not bothering me as much as it used to. Okay, so what
Uh,
happened in this sesh? I'm just gonna preface it right now by saying it was a combat. It was a combat
it was a
session.
combat
We
session.
had a lot of combat. We had a lot of baddies,
Hmm.
and it took a while to complete the combat. I would say we were in combat for, if you watched the stream, about an hour and a half, an
Yeah,
hour and 45.
yeah. I'd say an hour 45. Was we were going through it and I thought it was going well and having a lot of fun. And then I look at the time and we had been playing for an hour and 25 minutes. And I was like,
Yep.
holy cow, this is going for a
Yes.
while and it's not really close to being done. It like
Yes.
the tide had shifted in your favor. I think the cards were on the table, but there was still like some things to get played out.
There was a lot. There was a lot of stuff that we had to do. So I actually want to push pause because I need to talk. I need to get something off my chest, and
Go
this is
for it.
not related to D&D at all. I got online
Mm-hmm.
for a PlayStation 5 drop today. Well, actually, let me back up. Let me back up. Let me back up. So I joined a Discord server
Okay.
that will notify me when stock has been replenished for
Mm-hmm.
hard to come by tech items, specifically graphics cards
Sure.
slash
Yeah.
PlayStation 5
Yeah. Smart.
slash Xbox Series X.
Smart.
It was like, I bet I can just check the thing and get lucky. That's not how it works anymore, folks. No, you need to use the technology that we have at our disposal,
Yep.
and it
Yep.
involves learning Discord and joining a Discord
'Cause-
that will notify you.
Because those filthy scalpers are using
Yep.
all the tech tools. And if
Yep.
you want to be able to compete, you've got to step it up and go and use what's available to you.
Absolutely. So here's what happened. Best Buy did a big drop of the RTX 30 series, and I was like, dang,
Nice.
maybe I can get an RTX 3080 Ti. Is it a $1,500 graphics card? Yes, it is.
Ooh, mama.
If I was able to purchase it, I would have gone further into debt to purchase it. Why? I don't know. Crypto's the future. Who knows? Maybe it's not.
No, because that card will last you 8 years, 8 or 10 years
Really.
in a computer.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not going to do any VR. I'm always going to be playing games on a screen. I will never put an apparatus on my head. Zuckerberg. Anyway, so I put this card in the cart, and it's like, cool, add it to the cart. And I'm like, holy moly, am I going to be able to purchase one of these? I wait about 10 minutes in Best Buy's, like, okay, we just need to verify your stuff. And it says, verify your info. I verify. It says, please wait. Verify your info. I click verify. Please wait. This happened about 10 to 11 times until it just said, oh, it's sold out. Sorry.
Yep.
So then I scrolled through, found some others that were still technically available, tried to get those. Same thing happened. And I was like, okay, I just didn't get here early enough, is what happened. I missed the tweet or the
Yeah.
Discord thing that said, hey, these things are live. I think it was about 45 minutes late, and by that point, it was a done deal.
Yeah.
So then I get a notification that says, guess what? This link is live right now. You got to go right now. So I
Right now.
got very close to getting a PS5 with the disc drive from Best Buy, but there weren't any available in my area. But I probably could have gotten one elsewhere. But it was at that point, it's like I'm not going to drive to Utah to go go pick up a PlayStation 5. That's not going to happen. So I'm like, bummer. 30 minutes later, I get another notification that the digital version is now live, and I'm like, okay. I log on. I add it to my cart. At this point, I'd learned I'm going to actually update my Best Buy profile and just stay logged in.
Yeah,
so
smart.
So that's all verified. They don't need to go through that extra verification step. I log in. They're like, please wait. And I'm like, okay. And it doesn't give me the verify info spam. So I'm like, this is looking good. 45 minutes go by with this thing in my dock. I'm also working from home. So I'm like trying to do work. I had to like make lunch really quick. I'm like making lunch really quick. I'm like checking the computer, checking the computer. I stepped away for 3 minutes.
Spilling lunch on your shirt.
Spilling lunch on my shirt, all about it. They used to call me food stain in high school, and I hated them for it. I'll never forgive them. Still remember
Did
that.
they really? That one's terrible.
You better believe it.
That's
You better
so
believe it.
bad. Oh
You
my
better believe
God.
it. And oh baby, would they love to hang out with me now? But guess what? You never will. Anyway, that's so arrogant of what I just said. But anyway, so I come back 3 minutes later, food all over my face, all over my shirt, and it says verify info. And I'm like, holy crap, how long has it been sitting at verify info? I click verify info, sold out, baby. Yeah, missed it. I got so mad.
That sucks, dude. That sucks.
It was a bummer. But here's the thing. I joined that Discord server today, and I was already much closer to getting either a graphics card or PlayStation 5 than I've been in the past 2 years.
That's smart. That's cool.
So
yeah, my computer's doing fine. It just is booting up a little bit slower than it used to. Like it's like that, you know, that initial phase where like you're on the home screen, but you can't like really open anything yet. And it's still like running through some stuff that used to be like 3-4 seconds. It's creeping up into like the 25-30 where it's a lot more noticeable and frustrating, and I can live with it. I'm fine, but it is starting to be like, oh, please, like this is such a bad time to have something fail in a computer system. Like it would really suck. So, you know, I think I'm going to do a little bit of a dusting, clean out the CPU fan, clean the dust filters, give it a little TLC. Tell her
erase and install could help.
Tell her how much I love my big green mean machine.
You could always erase everything and reinstall the operating system.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could do that
too. A software issue.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's sort of at the forefront of my mind. Also, we bought a new couch, and I have to take the old one out to the curb today.
That sucks.
Before trash. It's okay. I had to like submit. Okay, this is the last non D&D related topic. Lies. I'm lying as soon as I say that. But the second D&D unrelated topic I want to talk about, and this is super mundane, folks. But in Los Angeles, I was curious. I was like, hey, wait a minute. If I want to put like something bulky out on the street, how do I get rid of that? And because in New York, they were very clear that like, okay, before trash collection day, it has to be packaged in a specific way and it has to be out on the curb, and we'll take it. But it has to be like the day before they actually come to do a collection, or else your building will get fined. But who cares? Because it's your landlord and they're probably a slumlord anyway. Yeah. And so I logged on and I said, okay, cool. I did not get a PlayStation 5, but how can I get rid of this couch? Turns out it's super easy. You just tell the Department of Sanitation, hey, I have a couch. And they're like, where's it going to be? I'm like, it's going to be on the curb. And they're like, great, put it out before 6 a.m. See you later.
We might be supposed to do that, but like just only to like let them know that like to have the bulk truck come down our street. But if we don't, I think the regular truck like radios the bulk truck, and it's just like, whatever we want, just put it on the curb and it's gone. And if it's metal, people just like drive around on recycling days and like just grab all the metal. So that's easy. Yeah. But that's been this week's patented Ted's Tangents.
It's time for Ted's Tangents. Hold on, folks. I got a theme song. I almost just broke my flute. Hold on. I got a theme song.
That would have been unfortunate.
Ooh, it's a tangent. It's a Ted's Tangent. Anyway,
All right,
yeah,
so
that's my TED tangent for this week. Tune in 20 minutes when I have a tangent about something completely unrelated.
back to the game. The heroes were leaving their confrontation with Greg the Wizard
Mm-hmm.
at the orb of power on this continent that they had found and got to, and Greg made the threat like, you can come after me if you want, but the people in the town of Desire, the old west town nearby, are going to suffer if you do, basically giving you a choice to run after him or head back to the town to save people. And our heroes made the noble choice of going back to the town after using the push lever mining cart by the two smallest and weakest individuals, pumping the lever. They arrive back in town to find it under attack by some undead. The wagons had been dragged into the street and smashed and set aflame. Some skeletal cowboys with rifles had set up on the rooftops, and some undead zombie cowboys were trying to break down the church door where the residents of the town had taken shelter and were being protected by Bishop, the Ned Flanders friendly priest in the town with a demon trapped inside of him.
Is that what you're going for? The Ned Flanders?
Yeah. He's, remember, because we did the gag where his first word was welcome, yes. And then he cleared his throat and was super friendly. And then you learned he also actually did have a demon trapped inside of him that would occasionally curse at you and say devilish things.
Classic demon.
So yeah, so the heroes had to work their way down the main street of the town to help the people before the bishop was overrun and they broke through the church doors. What do you think, Ted?
I thought it was great. I think that the combat was fun. I thought it was very imaginative. I love the idea of introducing a town that is then in shambles when you come back. That's a fun trope. I'm just gonna be very brief with the combat because the combat took a long time, and combat can be a slog. But the whole time I was engaged and I was trying to think of creative solutions, because that's the thing about D&D is you can really be as creative as you like. And that brings us to this week's sponsor, the Creative Solutions Podcast. Learn a new skill on Skillshare. That's not a thing that we have. Can you imagine if anybody listened to this and actually sponsored us?
that would be incredible.
So,
but
would it be? I don't know.
I don't know. It would have to. Here's the thing. I think it would have to fit. It would have to fit within D&D. I wouldn't want it to just be any random thing. But no one's ever going to do that. And it's fine.
I think it's time for our continuing segment, Ted's Tangents. Here we go, folks. It's a tangent from Ted. So here's the deal. I think that people who advertise on podcasts and they kind of just don't really have any thought or reason into who it is as long as they're signing a check, I think that's messed up. And I think that you should be a little bit more strategic in who you choose to do business with, because at the end of the day, we're all just shilling something, okay? And this has been Ted's Tangent. Okay, let's get back to the campaign.
Tangent, yeah. So your idea, you said something about creative solutions, and I thought everyone did a great job coming up with some creative ideas. That you immediately used your Mithril grappling staff perfectly, and got yourself from way out up onto a rooftop that's exactly how I envisioned it being used. It was awesome to see it being used that way. You learned a little lesson in that once you've used it, it takes 5 minutes before you can use it again. That's the magical energy of the staff needing to recharge. So, I know you'll be more selective in how you use it, whether you use it as a ranged weapon or use it as a maneuverability choice. So I think that'll be interesting to see going forwards. Sam playing Barter, I thought something did incredibly creative that I never would have thought of, that he ran up and took shelter behind one of the burning carts. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of a dangerous place to be. But then he stuck his arrow into the fire to light the arrow on fire and give it extra fire damage, which was incredible.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Sam.
I think technically he would have needed to have a stock of fire arrows specifically, because like you can't just get the shaft to light on fire. That takes
Right.
more time. That's the equivalent of lighting a piece of wood on fire. You'd need an oil soaked rag on it. But I think we'll give him I only thought of it afterwards, and we'll give him a pass because Barter is the kind of character who would have a variety of arrows at his disposal. He comes very prepared for everything. So I think he would have had a couple of flame arrows in his quiver. He might have, sort of almost like a Hawkeye situation. He would have had maybe like a rope arrow in there. He would have had a couple of other varieties, maybe a poison arrow.
Yeah.
So I think we will retcon that he was equipped for that. And I'll give you a little peek. At the end of the session, the wolfhound, not wolfhound, the dire wolf on the ship that he's trying to befriend led him to a crate, a chest that people had not yet found that was addressed to him, and inside were a couple of special items that he will learn more about. And I think in there there will also be a stockpile of special arrows that he can select from for future endeavors.
Nice.
So I think that he would have some of those things become equipped. And then my brother, Wright, playing the Aarakocra cleric Lek, did something really cool. I had forgotten about his Javelin of Lightning, and not only did he use it to great results, he did it in a neat way.
Yeah, he did. That was wild.
Because he was really far away at the edge, and I think he was on top of a building with another building in between him and his target. And so he made use of his flight to get high enough into the air to be able to hit that target. And it killed one guy, took a chunk out of another. So it did a really, really good job. He went about using it in a really creative way. And again, to remind our listener that his character, Lek, grew up in captivity.
Oh, yes.
So he has limited flight. He doesn't have his full range, and he can't sustain flight. So he's sort of like, it's more of like a enhanced jump at this point. He can travel further. He can get up in the air, get higher than you could with a jump, but he can't stay up in the air right now.
Right.
So that's what he did, and it worked awesome. So those are, I think, the highlights from combat. Raccoon did a great job doing what a barbarian does and just tanking hits and smashing down on the zombies. He took out 2 or 3 of them single-handedly pretty much, and was the focus of their attack, and it was just tanking the damage because of his rage ability, taking half damage for everything. So he did a great job.
Yeah, he really did a lot of damage.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to talk about with this was I set up this encounter. I've mentioned this before. There's a tool, Kobold Club, that helps you calculate how difficult a encounter is.
I looked this up, and there are some real bad encounters you can do.
Yeah, it's cool. The calculator is cool because, being a first-time DM, I want to create balanced encounters. I want to, but also keep them engaging and fun. Setting this one up, I actually set this one to deadly. I cranked.
Oh, Merritt, you're bad.
I cranked the difficulty on this, partially because you had the assistance of Alexandria, the wizard, and Bishop, the cleric, there with you.
Right.
I still factored them in to the calculation, so I set this to 6 players at level 2, which is what everyone was. Mm-hmm. And then I made it a deadly encounter because I also remembered you have some healing potions, you have some extra healing spells, you have some magical items.
Will we use the healing potions? Who knows, folks? You're just going to tune in for the next 100 weeks.
You didn't need them.
No, that's true. We didn't.
You guys did rolled so well and did so well. Some of the enemies rolled really poorly. Bishop rolled incredibly well, just one-shotting guys with his rifle. And you got to the other side of the town and started messing with him, the cultist down there, so quick, and got him down that he missed out on his next round of raising undead. And you crushed the encounter, which was so cool to see. I think what I should have done, what I originally had planned, was I had more enemies further down into the town, which would have slowed your progress up, or you would have had to have like made more sacrifice to get up to stop the cultist. Like I think I originally had 2 riflemen further down towards where you were coming in, which would have made it a much different encounter from the start.
Right.
What did you feel about like the size of the map for the combat? Because you guys had to travel a long distance. It was a big map.
I think it took longer just because we did have to scoot a ways to get to the encounter, and there were also obstacles. Also, the thing that was interesting was trying to get to just to get to the action, and we kind of had to split up. You know, we kind of had to split, divide and conquer, if you will. I went left. Everyone else, I think, went right. Maybe, no pun intended, right?
Yeah. Well, Raccoon went straight down the middle. You know, being the good Goliath barbarian, he just charged ahead and
he sure did.
Started smashing. And I love that he was like,
hashtag what would Raccoon do?
What would Raccoon do? I love that he was, he asked like, okay, you know, people talked about how do we get over these burning barricades? And I said, well, you can jump over them. And depending on how you roll, you might take some fire damage. Like if you get a low roll on your acrobatics check, because you're not just jumping, you're leaping over something, you might take fire damage. And so Barter was like, I'll find another way around. And he did. And Raccoon, once Steve was reminded, you're a raging barbarian, you take half damage. He was just like, oh, I'm just going through it. And he does. He did. And and just went right over it. And he also rolled really well in his acrobatics, so he didn't even get touched by the flame, if I remember correctly. So that was really cool. All right. Do you have any? I have another thought to get to, but if you have something else to say, let's take care of any thoughts you have right now.
Surprisingly, I don't have anything to say.
Blank slate.
I can't believe it. Blank slate. All right. I mean, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, it was a combat heavy.
Cool.
Let's keep it. Let's move.
How'd you like the mechanic of an enemy summoning more enemies?
Hated it. Not because I didn't hate it from a gameplay perspective. I was just like, it's like when okay, so the equation I'll make is to take a step back. It's time for another Ted's tangent, folks. Let me get the flute. Hold up. It's time for another edition of everyone's favorite segment, Ted's Tangents. Ooh, it's a tangent. Here's the deal. Do you remember in Final Fantasy IV, aka Final Fantasy II on the Super Nintendo? It was released in 1991, somewhere in there. Somebody's going to correct me. One of our listener, singular, thank you for listening, is going to correct me. Going to look it up and just lay to you on Twitter, because I will never share my Twitter feed on this. I only use Twitter for console and graphics cards drops, folks. Anyway, there's a boss battle with these 3 enemies called the Magus Sisters. Cindy, Mindy, and I forget the third one's name.
Okay.
But Mindy. Cindy, Mindy, and I said Mindy already, didn't I? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. Somebody's going to correct me again. We got 2 things to talk to Merritt about at the Irish Roger on Twitter. The idea is there are these 3 sisters. They have a lot of HP. You're kind of like grinding through this tower, and one of them in the middle will resurrect the other 2 who have like this really powerful attack. So you're thinking, okay, let me get rid of these like heavy hitters, but then she'll just keep resurrecting them.
Sure.
And the one in the middle who resurrects the others has 3 or 4 times as many hit points. So it kind of like instilled this not rage, but just this. It took me back
You
to
had a
a
little.
time
You had a little flashback.
a little flashback, and I was like, man, this is really, really tough.
I'm
But
gonna out myself a little bit here. I actually don't remember that from Final Fantasy IV because I never played Final Fantasy IV.
so you don't, well, you wouldn't, you can't remember something if you don't have a memory of it in the first place,
Right.
Merritt.
My first venture into video games was the Nintendo 64. My parents were opposed to getting one before then, so
What?
my
I didn't know you never had a Super Nintendo. We're the same age. What the
I know
heck?
my early console chops are
Bring your parents on the podcast.
Yeah.
I need to set them straight.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I kind of get it. It was probably, I think about it sometimes about the consoles and how they're like hard to find now. And I know apparently I don't have any recollection of this because, I grew up and wasn't even aware of something called like going to a mall at 6 a.m. and like waiting in line
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
But when the regular Nintendo came out, apparently it was the hot ticket item that Christmas, so they were hard to find.
Yeah.
I don't have any recollection of that. The original Nintendo came out before I was barely conscious, and then I started playing it, and I was bad at video games when I was a kid, and guess what? I'm still bad at those video games.
Now.
I'm going to start a Twitch stream of just me being bad at video games just to make everybody mad, and it's going to pop off. But the Super Nintendo, I think, was similar, where it was also a difficult console to find.
Yeah.
And I have a very vivid memory of my brother and I were like, we want one for Christmas. And we got one, but my parents addressed the package to my brother. And my brother was like, oh, it's mine. You can't play my Super Nintendo. Like, why? What are you doing playing like my Super Nintendo? He wasn't.
They did you dirty.
They did you dirty. Yeah. But what did I get that year? Puzzle glue, folks, because I love doing puzzles and I couldn't wait to put a puzzle together.
Your brother gets a multi-$100 console. You get an $8 bottle of glue.
Yep. You better believe it. You know what's really funny? This is how dumb I was as a kid. You'll love this. So I'm looking at the package of puzzle glue, and it's like a cylinder, and it's wrapped, and I shake it, and it's like liquid in there, and I'm like, oh, my parents got me a fish. I saw you taking a drink as I was saying that, and I was like, bad idea, Merritt. You're not going to like what I'm about to say.
Here comes a snarf.
I thought my parents bought a fish, put it in a glass jar with the lid closed, and wrapped it in paper.
And then you shook it. You thought it was a fish, and you shook it.
And I was like, I shook it and was like, oh, what if it's a fish? No, it was puzzle glue, folks. Puzzle glue. Puzzle glue is the answer. Anyway,
awesome.
Yeah, so Super Nintendo, sorry you didn't get one, but the Nintendo 64 was also legit. Hey, did you do that Nintendo Switch Online thing with the 64 games added?
I haven't done it yet. No, I got a Switch for Christmas, and I have been doing Breath of the Wild, so I haven't activated my.
Oh baby!
Yeah.
Oh
man!
Oh baby! That
so
game
good.
is so good.
It's so good. I'm trying to go slow with it. I don't want to rush through it. I'm playing it slowly in segments and taking my time.
Dude, wait till you get Mario Odyssey too.
Oh, yeah.
Both of those games are masterpieces.
Yeah.
And I'm not even. I remember playing Mario 64, and everyone was like, "It's a game changer." Everyone loved Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, I suck at video games. I did not like Mario 64. It was way too hard for me.
I kind of feel the same. I feel
Mario Sunshine, everybody loves. Very hard for me as well. Very, very difficult. You know what game was the first 3D Mario that I was really into? Was Galaxy.
Yep.
So when they re-released Galaxy, I was like, I'm in. Can't wait. I can't wait for Galaxy 2 to be re-released because both of those games are chef's kiss, masterpiece.
Yeah. Anyway, so the combat, the game, D&D, the point of this podcast.
And folks, that was another Ted's tangent that we looped Merritt into. Welcome to a new segment called Ted and Merritt Tangents. Ooh, Ted and Merritt on a tangent. All right.
So after finishing combat, killing the cultist, killing the rest of the zombies and the cowboy rifle skeletons, you guys did what I hoped you would and searched the cultist for clues and anything you might have on them.
I didn't even think of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
After like an hour and 45 minutes of combat, I was like, okay, let's head back to the Storm Rider. I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
But
All these 7s and 4s that I've been rolling have really taken a toll. I gotta
poor
get
little
the F out of here.
poor little halfling Bosch trying to or no gnome. He's even smaller than a halfling. He's a gnome.
Yeah, he's a gnome.
Trying to like scramble up these buildings and across rooftops. Oh, and by the way, your use of key points for Step of the Wind to get across a gap that you couldn't normally jump was excellent. That was really, because that was I think a 12-foot gap, and Bosch has a 9-foot jump. So,
Right. Yeah, that
great-
wasn't gonna
good
go
job.
very well.
Good job doing that. So
Yeah,
that
I'm
was
all
great.
about using those key points. Can't wait to level up again to get more of them because they really come in handy.
Yeah.
Oh, but actually, hold on, hold the phone. You're not talking about
Pause.
the best part of the entire.
Okay, tell me
Session.
tell me the best part.
So Bosch is on the roof. He's tussling with this cowboy skeleton. He's
Mhm.
like, "Huh? What? Yeah, what? He hits him. He tries to hit him with the staff. It misses because I suck at video games. I suck at rolling dice. What can I say? And then I use my bonus action for an unarmed attack, and it lands, kills the cowboy skeleton. He crumbles into dust. What does Bosch do? He puts on that cowboy
Takes
hat.
his
baby.
rotting.
He takes his
like-
rotting cowboy hat, puts it right on his head, and then he like goes off to hide somewhere. But what did I do in the game, folks? That's right. I stepped away to use the bathroom, and I came back wearing a real, honest to
With a
God
real
cowboy hat and didn't say anything about it and so I just let you continue running the campaign. And I'm very
because
good
I was
memory
like,
of you just looking at it,
Yeah.
and then I hear you just go, all right. So then you turn and, God damn it, Ted.
yeah, that was great, because I was like obviously very involved in like running this combat encounter, because for players you take your turn and then you kind of are passive, but
Right.
I'm involved
You
in
check
every
Twitter threads for
Yeah.
whether you're PS5 or not.
but I'm involved in every turn, either helping figure out what the players do or what the enemies do, or we also had
Mhm.
2 ally NPCs in this encounter helping out. So I was like very involved in not looking up at the screen that shows everybody on Discord.
Right.
And so then what I do, I see you wearing this cowboy hat, and I was just like, oh my God. I mean, you must have probably had it on for like 5-6 minutes before
had it
I
on for a while, and it was hard because I couldn't like fit over my headphones
Yeah.
either.
Ugh,
Anyway,
but I loved it. It was hilarious.
we had a lot of. I remember I stepped back on, and Wright, who is muted, just immediately started laughing. He saw me, and I saw him, and I was just trying to stand there, just like try to stand there as serious as possible. But
Oh, that's fantastic.
anyway, yeah, it was a real hoot and a holler, as they say
Hoot and
in cowboy
holler.
times.
Oh, that was great.
Okay, so I put on this hilarious hat. Everybody laughed. It was really, really funny. And then
You save the day, and
Save the day.
went to search the fallen enemy leader.
I went to hide for some reason. I went to go into stealth mode. Even though it was
Yeah,
completely unnecessary.
That surprised me. After
we
you
had more enemies, but I guess I was just hiding for
Well,
no reason.
Not only did you like hide, which was fine, that makes sense. You still had a long distance to cover. There was still a rifleman up who could have taken a shot at you, but then you like ran away from the combat, that everything was going on to your right. You
Mhm.
ran left off of the building, and we're like,
Well, because I'll tell you why I did that. There was a ladder there.
sure.
And I have had terrible rolls, so there was no way in hell I was going to try to roll an acrobatics check to
Well,
jump off the roof.
Here's the
This
thing.
2-foot gnome jumping off a
Yeah.
15-foot roof? I don't think so.
Falling damage is only, I think it's 1d6 per 10 feet. And so like the max damage you could have taken from that, because I think what I was doing is a 1d6 for the first 10 feet, and then the second d6 halved for the second, because it's only 15. It was a 15-foot building. So you max would have taken 9 points just jumping. And
Mhm.
I throw in the acrobatics check to, because I think if it's like a controlled fall from a reasonable distance, like 15 feet, and you nail your acrobatics, you could easily jump and land and roll. And if you do well at that, not take damage. That's kind of like a little homebrew rule. I think like the falling
Right.
damage in D&D needs some adjusting. Um, Also because like
Interesting.
on the other side of that, there's a maximum. You could fall from like 300 feet, and I think the max is like 5d6, 66, something like that. There's a maximum damage for falling.
Dang.
So like it is possible to fall an incredible distance and like not get killed by it. So like the fall damage is silly. Um, so yeah, I mean maybe you didn't really understand that. I tried to tell you that. Probably didn't say it well or right. Also,
I'm not upset about it. I
yeah,
was just trying to be conservative.
yeah, no, that makes perfect sense, and it fits in the character. You know, he ran off the back, he saw the ladder, easy way to get down, and it was also just by a lot of luck from other people's damage rolls that the combat ended. You would have made it back to the combat on your next turn. You were close enough that you would have been in striking distance on your next turn.
I did throw a dart.
You did
and
throw
I
a
think
dart,
that-
and
yeah.
it might have hit. Yeah. Oh no, it missed. If the dart, I think you were just out
Yeah,
of
it
range,
missed,
and
and I was like, it's gonna.
you had to
hit
roll with
Leck or somebody.
disadvantage. Yeah, you had to roll with disadvantage.
Right.
So yeah, your next turn you would have been in range to engage again, and it just happened that combat ended right then because the cultist got killed so quick he wasn't able to summon his third round of undead. So let's talk about the cultist. How do you feel like it tied in with the campaign? What do you, because so when the heroes searched him, they found a dagger with some runic engravings and a demonic pommel. They found the crystal that he was using to summon the undead, that as they like picked it up, the last of the magic like disappeared from it, and now it's just like a regular glass crystal. And Alexandria explained that this is just it's a magical item, but it's just something you can use to store a spell within. So that
Right.
someone who may not necessarily have the spell to cast themselves can use a charge of that item to cast the spell.
Okay.
And then they found a token with or like a medallion with the Guild of Wonder. Is that what it's called?
Right.
Yeah, the Guild of Wonder.
Yeah, the Guild of Wonder.
Which is like the antagonist group for Leck. So they found those 3 items. Any thoughts on that?
I love it. I love it. I love. Honestly, I know we've like definitely played a lot with Greg, and we've kind of like worked that in. But I was turning my head away from the microphone as I was talking, so I'm actually talking to the microphone now, folks. I think that I am really excited to see more Guild of Wonder stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing more of what they're about and where they came from, because they seem to be a really omnipresent force in this world. So that'll be fun for me to see. And yeah, I don't want to speculate because I am looking forward to being surprised.
Yeah, cool, good.
So we are on our way now. We returned to the Stormrider. We were like, "Where's Greg?" We don't know. We lost him because we were being noble. Just goes to show you that being noble sucks. You should never do it. And we are back on the Stormrider. Barter found that chest, which was privileged information for him. Our characters don't know that he has that. Think there's ever going to be any times where you're like, okay, this is just for you?
Well, already, yeah. I mentioned to Sam, there's a letter in the chest that I am going to write out for him to have to read at the start of next session. And that's something he can choose to share or not share. What's on it?
Love it. Hell yeah. I'm excited to see what happens soon. I think it's going to be a really great sesh. I think it's going to be a really... I'm looking forward to having more downtime to learn more about the Stormrider, and who knows, maybe get more confidence in the Stormrider engineering department. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next week and tracking down these dang old keepsakes that we
Mm-hmm.
lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've chosen to the map that you have and the continents you saw in the Orb of Power uh, showed three continents that you guys recognized from the map, and the one closest to your current location correlated to Raccoon's item. That it sort of showed
Mhm.
Raccoon's face, it showed his item, and then it showed this continent, and that one was the closest. So that's going to be a couple days journey on the Storm Rider. So you'll have a little downtime on the Storm
Mhm.
Rider, um,
Yep.
and then you'll arrive at this continent that is unknown. And even you wisely asked the captain, what do you guys know about this continent? And he said, this one is new to us. This
Right. Because that's
has
the thing about this world is that continents will just show up and leave,
yeah. Yep.
which is really annoying. But no, I like it. It's a really cool story mechanic. But from my genuine concern for Bosch, I'm like, yikes,
Yeah.
what's happening?
Yeah. Well, and it's a I think it's both a cool story mechanic. It's also a very convenient story mechanic for me. I mean, because this whole
Well, I mean, there's no fault in that. Come on.
no, yeah, I wasn't saying it was copping out or anything, but you know, the idea of the tetherverse and these continents that swirl around each other and collide with each other or just straight pass through each other, and how ones can develop at different time speeds because they're out in space connected by a magical electric tether. They might go through some sort of time anomaly and advance 500 years in the time
Yeah.
that the other continents only go a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
the whole idea for that was so that the players could be whatever they wanted. If they wanted to be steampunk, if they wanted to be from the future, if they wanted to be from like a film noir type setting, like an LA Confidential Detective, something
Yes.
like that. They could be whatever they wanted to be in this world, and it would fit in. That was reason number one. Reason number two was so that players could drop out, and there was a mechanical in-game reason for the character to not be available for that session, because the character could get warp stormed out
Right.
and then return back. And we did that a couple of times early on, when someone had to miss. And very fortunately, no one has had to miss the past couple of weeks, which is
I know that's
awesome.
been wild. That's wild. That's
Yeah,
actually
I think
really
we're
cool.
I think
that
we're on
nobody's
like
have to miss.
we're on like 4 sessions in a row with everybody being there, which is
Man, I didn't even think of that. That's wild.
for like a weekly thing for adults. That is incredible. For
Yeah.
adults, 3 of whom have children,
Mm-hmm.
1 of whom is back in school, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's Ted, who is just
fuck you. Fuck you. I'm doing shit too. I'm working
No,
on a
dude,
goddamn
I was-
career, pal. Okay. Oh my god.
I was going to say I was going to
You.
I was going to say living in Cali being awesome.
Oh, that yeah. Well, great way to retcon that one too, pal. We've been doing a lot of retcon as the campaign progresses. But anyway, yeah.
No, that is what
do
I
you-
was going to say.
you
That,
might
honestly,
show up.
sincerely, that's
Yeah,
what I was going to
maybe
say.
I won't show up now. How dare you? Shame on you. Anyway,
Fantastic.
all right. So here's where we go from here. We're just waiting. We just wait till Tuesday.
Yeah, I think we just wait for Tuesday. I have something so good in store. I'm not going to give any spoilers. I'm really excited about this week coming up.
Okay.
Obviously, I think you can probably draw the conclusion that it is being the continent that is connected to Raccoon's item. It's going to feature him pretty heavily. Hopefully Steve can make it on Tuesday. But fortunately, you know what else? Fortunately, I also have a plan B.
Oh,
Yeah, I have something. I'm gonna have to work it up a
and
little bit more.
B for Bosch.
Yep.
Plan barter.
I have a
Plan B and B.
in case I need to call an audible. I do have another idea in store, and so hopefully Steve will be there. I'd like to do plan A, but I do have something in my back pocket, as it were, in case I need to pull that out, because it wouldn't be very good for Steve being like, oh yeah, so this is the week that's going to be a big character development for you. You missed it. Well, here's what happened, and you're different now.
Right.
That's not going to play.
No. But I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, me too.
And who knows? Maybe next week I'll have a PlayStation 5.
That would be awesome. That'd be super cool.
That'd be wild. Do you have a PlayStation? No.
I do not. Nope.
I have some friends back east who are like, they all have PS5s, and I'm like, I want to play games.
I want to get a PlayStation. I did just get God of War for PC, so like more and more what were exclusive games are coming to PC, which is awesome. So I'm less likely to get a console.
I think we talked
again.
about this last time, but did you play Horizon Zero Dawn?
Nope, not yet.
That's a good one.
I want to do that one too. I'll actually share a little story of a big reason why I switched to PC. So
all right, folks, stand by. For those of you listening at home, now it's time for a new segment called Merritt's Tangents. Here we go. Stand by. See, your song is different than mine.
It is different. It is good. I like both of them. So I've been an Xbox player for many, many, many years. Like the original Xbox 360, and then the Xbox One. I was a day one buyer of the Xbox One.
Whoa, really?
Yep.
Wow.
I started streaming from the Xbox using the Kinect. It worked great. It had the game on there. It had me on there. All from the console. It was working pretty well. I dipped my toe in the water before making the investment of, what a PC and a PC streaming setup costs.
Right.
And so I've been doing some games. I did The Witcher. I did Destiny. I did a couple of games on. And then I was like, you know what? I want to go back and do The Witcher some more. I tried to get The Witcher playing. I could play the game. It would show me, but it would not show the game. It was like the Xbox home screen on the stream where the game was supposed to be. And I was like, what is going on? This is so weird. And so I contacted Twitch to see what it was, and someone actually responded and said, yeah, that's not us. You're going to have to contact the game developers, or you're going to have to contact Xbox. I contacted both of them. I actually heard back from both of them. Xbox at first said, yeah, this isn't us. Contact the game developer. I contacted the game developer. They said, yeah, this is definitely not us. I went back to Xbox again after a couple back and forths. Xbox finally responded, this game is censored by Microsoft because there are brief moments of nudity in the game.
Right.
And I said, okay, I am an adult. I own this console. I own this game. I say my stream is for a mature audience. Who are you to censor the content I produce? I understand, yes, you own, it is a Microsoft console, but the fact that they at one point I could stream it successfully, then they changed it and I could not on something I own. This isn't like something I rent. This is using the Xbox Live service only for the internet connection. But it's not like an online game. And so it's like, okay, so there's brief moments of nudity, but you're fine with kids playing these murder simulators. There's some really gory, violent, not just Call of Duty stuff, horror murder each other games. And I'm like, you're okay with that, possibly with children streaming it, but you're not going to let an adult stream one of the greatest digital art masterpieces.
Yes.
Because there's a boob on the screen for 20 seconds, not even. And so then it's you know what? No, I'm done. That was the moment where it's you know what? I'm going to get a PC and I'm probably never going to buy an Xbox again. And fortunately, I really don't need to because Xbox Game Pass is so good that any Xbox exclusives you can play on PC. I've been playing Halo Infinite on PC. Like it used to be, you could only play Halo on an Xbox, and now I don't need. You don't need it anymore. I know I'm still giving my money to Microsoft. That wasn't ever really the issue. The issue was they were censoring the console and what I could do with it. It's like,
Right.
I already know the technology's there. You let me do it before, and now you've changed it, and I can't. So, anyways, long story short.
Yeah, that's really irritating.
Yeah. Long story short, I don't have an Xbox or a PlayStation. I'd like a PlayStation, but I don't really feel the need. The only games on the PlayStation I feel like I'm missing out on are Ghost of Tsushima and the Spider-Man games. Because now that I got God of War,
Spider-Man, that
oh,
Spider-Man
it looks
game
so
is
good.
lit.
It looks so good.
Lit.
Yeah,
It's so good.
I am missing out on those, but like, you know, I'm surviving. I have plenty of other good things.
God of War is good too, but for those of you listening for this entire,
You cut out, Ted. Something happened.
oh, it did.
Yep.
Really?
You're back. You're back
Can't
now.
hear me?
Nope. Now I can.
Here's the thing, folks. I'm not good at video games. So for those of you listening at home, I'm just going to reiterate what I said. I started playing God of War on normal.
Mm-hmm.
And have you started it yet, Merritt?
I've only played about 30 minutes. I haven't gotten very far.
Okay. Well, you did the first thing, right?
I got to the first group of Draugrs. I haven't yet got the deer. So you're hunting that deer. I barely started. I barely started.
Early. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I won't say anything. Just play more, and we'll talk about it next week.
Sounds
on Dungeon Master Level
Awesome.
1.
Yes, that's our time for sure. Thank you so much for our listener out there. We appreciate you. This has been Dungeon Master Level 1. I am your. We barely talked about D&D this time, but it's hard with the.
Doesn't matter. It's one combat thing.
Yeah.
People don't listen.
Yeah, the combat.
People don't listen to this, but they don't listen to this for
combat
recap
recaps.
the
Yeah.
D&D thing.
Next week's podcast is going to be really good. I think it's going to be good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think because I think the session's going to be really good. So I think there's going to be a lot
Is
of
Sam
talk
coming
about.
back?
Not next week. He's going to be back the week after that, I think. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Anyways, cool. This has been Dungeon Master Level 1. I am your Dungeon Master, Merritt Smith. With me, as always, was my amigo especial, Ted. Thank you for being here.
And folks, thanks
Good
so much for
night,
listening.
everybody.
Follow Merritt on Twitter @TheIrishRover.
Good night.